Hey everybody, happy Wednesday and welcome to another Wednesday live training. We're going to talk about alcohol today. So let me get my camera situated here. I'm actually in the screen. Okay, so we're going to give it a second or two for people to jump on. So while we're waiting for people to jump on, I just wanted to remind you about the hashtag for this week. If you post in the group using the hashtag movement, and you can post anything, you can post like screenshots of your activity tracker, your workout tracker, you can post sweaty selfie or a not sweaty selfie for that matter. I don't always sweat when I work out. You can post different ideas for movement, pretty much whatever, anything that has to do with movement and just encouraging everybody to get moving this week. So hashtag movement on Friday evening / Friday night. I will do a drawing for everyone who used the hashtag. You can have up to 5 entries in the drawing, and I will do a drawing for a $20 Starbucks gift card this week. So make sure you are in and using the hashtag movement in the group. And every Monday we get a new hashtag, so make sure you come back on Monday, check out the video, see what the new hashtag is, and we just do it all over again every week. So, all right, so we've given it a minute or so. Let's get rolling. We're going to talk about how does alcohol impact your health and your fitness goals? And I think this is a big one. And I purposely chose to do this topic the Wednesday right after Memorial Day for obvious reasons. My feed was blowing up with like pictures of cases of beer and like Truly and all the things. It was crazy. I'm glad y'all had a good time, but holy guacamole, it was a lot. So hopefully we can learn a few things here and make some more educated decisions about certain things that we do. And for the record, I'm not saying don't drink. That's not something I'm going to say. So here we go. So the second that someone, like if I'm out in public, like at the grocery store or, you know, whatever, restaurant, wherever, and someone asks what I do for a living, and the second that I mention that I'm a personal trainer and a nutrition coach, they immediately like are put on guard. You can tell by their body language. They like kind of shy away from me a little bit. They change the way they're talking. They'll change the topic of what they're talking about. They immediately clearly assume that I'm judging them. And just to be clear before we get into this live, that I will never, ever, ever judge somebody for their health, their fitness, their nutrition choices. That is not my job. I'm in my judgment-free zone here, like for real, not like the Planet Fitness version of a judgment-free zone, but like the real version of a judgment-free zone. I am a very, very big believer in each of us having a say over our bodies, what we do with our bodies, what we put into our bodies. However, the one caveat to that is that I think that we need to make sure we have the education over what we're doing and putting into our bodies when we make those decisions. And so that is my job. That is where I come in. It is not to judge, it is to simply provide education. I am a teacher at heart. I was a public school teacher for 18 years, 17 years, how long? I think 18 years. And yeah, 18. And teaching is just what I do. It's what I love to do. And it's what I continue to do, just not in a middle school math classroom anymore. So with that said, when I'm talking to this person that just learned that I'm a nutrition coach and a personal trainer, you know, they're clearly defensive, and then they start to like justify their decisions. And where alcohol comes in on this is they'll start saying things like, oh, but it's a low calorie drink or it's a low carb drink and things like that. As soon as someone starts saying things like that, that's all these red flags in my head are all going off, that this person needs more education. It's that they are trying to do the right thing. They think that they're doing the right thing. They're just not educated on what that right thing might be. And so that's where I want to be super duper duper really, really, really clear today that I am not here to talk about the calories in alcohol. I am not here to talk about the carbs that are in alcohol. I really don't care how many calories or carbs there are in alcohol. The issue with alcohol is literally the alcohol itself. So we know that alcohol has calories. And just in case you ever cared, each gram of alcohol has 7 calories per gram. And then that is on top of whatever calories are in like the carbs or the fat in a drink, things that are mixed in. So again, I am not here to talk about that. We know that that's a thing. We know that calories, you know, blah, blah, blah. We know all that. I want to talk about the other effects of alcohol that are oftentimes completely ignored by most people. And these effects extend way, 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 way beyond any calories or carbs that you might find in any given drink. So just to get right directly to the point, alcohol is poison. There's no two ways around that. There is no argument with that. It is poison. And any time we have a poison that gets introduced into our body will understandably panic. So particularly our liver goes into overdrive, wanting to rid the poison out of our bodies. So when it's doing that, like the second we start drinking, immediately it starts going, get this out, get this out, get this out. It's a poison. It shouldn't be there. And what happens is all other liver functions cease to happen. That includes efficiently processing fat. That includes removing excess estrogen from our bodies. All other non-essential life functions stop happening solely so our body can get the alcohol out as fast as possible. So I want to first talk about that excess estrogen. One of your liver's jobs is to take excess hormones, such as estrogen, and remove them from our body via our pee and poop. Essentially, you shit out your hormones is pretty much what it comes down to. So the extra hormones, anyway, the ones that our body is not readily using in that moment. So, but when the liver is busy focusing on ridding the alcohol out of our body, it simply recirculates those hormones, particularly estrogen, back through our body again. It's like, nope, I can't deal with this right now. Push that estrogen back through, recirculate back through. And so it continues to do this until the alcohol has been completely metabolized through our system. So when we drink regularly, your liver seldom is free long enough to actually deal with the amount of estrogen that has been piling up in your body, and we end up with issues called such as estrogen dominance. So among all kinds of other things, the number one way that you are going to recognize estrogen dominance in yourself or in someone else is by one major telltale symptom: belly fat, particularly the spare tire type of belly fat. When the belly fat is like the spare tire type syndrome that's what people call it, when that is much larger than fat on other parts of your body, say your face or your arms, that's a really, really big sign that there could definitely possibly be estrogen dominance present in that person. So as a disclaimer though, alcohol is not the only reason that someone might have estrogen dominance. There are other reasons, but it is a very, very huge contributing factor, particularly for my ladies that love to have a glass of wine at night. It seems harmless. It seems like, oh, it's relaxing me, but it's actually not. Alcohol is a poison. It's a stressor on your body. So while you may mentally feel relaxed, your body is the opposite of relaxed. And so not only is it recirculating that estrogen through, but we know that when we have any stressors on our body, it also elevates our cortisol, which is our second belly fat hormone. So perfect storm, right? So, oh yeah, so this is kind of my favorite. So you know how, like, especially in guys, like we'll say things like we refer to their belly. I don't think we really often say this to women too much, thankfully, I guess. But mostly in men, we're just like, oh, he has a beer belly, right? It's like, you know, the big belly when, again, everything else is somewhat thin and it's just this big giant belly. And we know if it's someone who drinks beer, we just refer to it as our beer belly. Well, here's my question. If these big, tough, macho guys knew that that beer belly really, in real life, is an estrogen belly, do you think that they would still drink as much? Because these big, tough guys don't want to be told that they have too much estrogen in their bodies. So if you've got some guy in your life that you maybe thinks he drinks a little too much beer, go ahead and tell him that's an estrogen belly and see if that helps. So that's that. So that's the estrogen dominance part. Alcohol also has a negative impact on our gut health, and it will irritate many common gut health issues that a lot of us have, and many of us don't even know that we have it, like IBS, leaky gut syndrome, SIBO, and other digestive gut health issues. So if you have any issues at all, whether it's diagnosed IBS or something else, or just you know that your digestion just isn't always quite right, whether it's You sometimes get constipated or diarrhea or sometimes both. I super, super, super very highly recommend that you give up the alcohol if you ever plan or ever hope to be able to improve these symptoms. Alcohol only exacerbates all of those problems. Okay, now let's talk about sleep. In my opinion, in the opinion of many others, sleep is absolutely very easily the most highly underrated piece of the health and wellness puzzle. So when you don't get quality sleep, the goals that you're trying to achieve, whether they're muscle growth or fat loss, are very, very slow coming. They're very difficult to achieve. And this again goes back to the stress thing that I mentioned earlier with the elevated cortisol. Not getting enough quality sleep is a stressor internally, which elevates cortisol. Cortisol will prevent too much cortisol, I should say. We need some, but too much cortisol can help prevent fat loss. It also can help prevent muscle growth. So sleep is a hugely important piece of our puzzle. So that's one area that we can all work to improve absolutely for free. You don't need, that costs nothing, right? Put down the phone 30 or 60 minutes before bed, things like that. But how does alcohol impact our sleep? So when you are sleeping with, after drinking, what doesn't matter how much it is, sleeping after drinking, the sleep that you're getting is more like the type of sleep that's like anesthesia. If you have a surgery, it's that really light, surface level sleep where it's easy to rouse you out of that sleep. It is not the restorative kind of sleep that our body needs for recovery and our brain needs for things like memory storage. And only one drink per day is enough to negatively impact your sleep. Okay, so again, without good quality sleep, reaching our goals is very, very tough. If we're drinking, getting good quality sleep isn't going to happen, which means reaching our goals is very, very tough. So these are just a few of the many, I mean, I could go on all day about the many other ways that alcohol has a negative role in our lives and how it negatively impacts your health goals. And that does not even include talking about things like addiction, dehydration, athletic performance, memory issues, and on and on. We could go on forever. But what I want to kind of wrap up with here is talking about how long does alcohol stay in our system. So this is a really kind of important piece when we're looking at, can I drink and still achieve my goals? How long it stays in your system is very dependent on two things. Number one, how much you drink, but then also maybe even more so the duration of your drinking. So what I mean by that is, are you drinking a few drinks in a 2-hour period, or are we drinking a few drinks over the course of 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours? So the half-life of alcohol is 5 hours. So that means that every 5 hours, the amount of alcohol that is in your body gets cut in half. So if somebody is drinking all day long, depending on how much they drank, all day long, the removal of alcohol in your system can take up to 36 hours. So if you're out, partying like this weekend, I bet a lot of y'all were out drinking quite a bit over long periods of time, picnics and parties and beaches and boats and all the things. So that 36 hours is 36 hours of not so great gut health. That's 36 hours of estrogen getting recirculated back through our body. That 36 hours covers 1, if not 2 nights of not so great sleep. So you see what's happening here. If you have just a drink or two, most of that should be processed through your body within the day. But what happens if you're having a drink or two every single day? I know a lot of people that come home from work every night pouring the wine. They want to de-stress from work, and they're pouring that glass of wine night after night after night. So what happens is, if it's taking our liver the full day to deal with this poison that we've put in it, then when is it ever going to get to do its actual job that it's supposed to be doing within your body? Because it takes so long to remove the alcohol that there's seldom much time left for your liver to actually do its job. So, can you drink and still meet your weight loss or your muscle gain goals? Yes. Will it take you longer? 100% yes. So general rule of thumb is if you're drinking a couple of 2-3 times a week, then you can expect to almost double the length of time that it would take for you to reach your goals without drinking. Okay, so about double the time. The idea here is the expectation. Can you drink? Yes, absolutely you can. Do you need to understand that it's going to take you longer? You sure do. If you're one of those like me, I drink very, very rarely. I used to drink a whole lot until I learned more. That's where that education thing comes in from the beginning. Now it's, maybe once every couple months or something like that. So yeah, totally once in a while, but it shouldn't be something that we're doing every day. It should not be a crutch for relaxation. And it should be something that you are able to not do. I don't know if that makes sense. So for example, if you decide today, holy moly, I didn't know all this stuff about drinking, I think that I'm going to back off of it while I'm working to achieve my goals. And if you're finding that it's difficult for you to back off of it, that might be a problem. You might want to talk to someone. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful or funny kind of way, but that's kind of how we might want to start recognizing, ooh, this might be more than just me drinking to relax. Okay, and that's super important. If you're drinking a few times a week, can expect to kind of double the amount of time that it would take you normally. If you are drinking daily, I wish you well. I hate to say that you won't achieve your goals, and really it's goal dependent. It depends on what your goals are. But when we're drinking every day and putting our body in that state of stress, in that fight or flight kind of state, and then our liver not being able to do its job essentially constantly, you are going to find it very, 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 very difficult to achieve your goals. So I wish I had something positive to say right now. I really don't want to end it. That feels really negative. I don't want to end it on a negative note. But I hope that maybe you've learned a little something. And like I said, I am never going to tell someone not to drink. I don't ever judge anybody for any of their decisions. It's my job to just provide education. So I hope that you've at least learned a thing or two that might help you influence the choices that you make. So if you are going to drink, I would keep it to a shorter amount of time and maybe less drinks versus all day long drinking. That's going to allow your body to process it out through faster and get your liver and everything back to functioning more quickly where it needs to be. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I know I feel so doom and gloom. I don't like that. But if you have any questions or comments or concerns, whatever, go ahead and put those in the comment of this video. And I will be happy to answer any of those questions or even do another live. I'm always on the search for more topics for our live trainings every week. So I would love to hear what you want to know more about, and that way I can be sure that I'm providing the information that you're looking for. And don't forget about our hashtags every week. This week, #movement will get you a $20 gift card on Friday, or a chance to win a $20 gift card on Friday. And I hope that y'all are having a super great rest of your week. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions, concerns, anything more that you want to know about. I want to know what you want to know so I can give you what you want. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'll see y'all next week.